The red dust of Mars swirled outside the patrol ship's viewport as Amanda Reed completed her usual checks. 6 years of protecting the Mars colony had taught her to never let her guard down, even during routine patrols. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and her blue uniform wore the silver stars of Earth's Defense Force. "Something's not right," she muttered, studying the radar screen. A small blip had appeared and disappeared 3 times in the last hour. According to standard protocols, she should call it in. But Amanda's instincts told her to investigate first. She had earned her position as Earth's top military strategist by trusting those instincts. She guided her ship toward the last known location of the mysterious signal. The Mars colony's golden domes shrank behind her as she ventured into the less patrolled region, known as the Dark Quarter. Here, the planet's magnetic field created interference that made most sensors unreliable. A flash of silver caught her eye. Before she could react, her ship shuddered violently. A beam of purple light engulfed her craft, and all her controls went dead. "Emergency protocols engaged," the ship's computer announced calmly. But nothing responded. Amanda's hands flew over the control panel, trying every override she knew. For the first time in her career, none of her backup plans worked. Through the viewport, she watched as a massive ship materialized. It was unlike anything in Earth's database, sleek, dark, and at least 10 times the size of her patrol vessel. Its surface seemed to ripple like liquid metal. A voice filled her cabin, deep and clear. "Your vessel has been selected for inspection. Do not resist." Amanda smiled grimly. If they expected her to panic, they didn't know much about humans. She quickly activated her suit's emergency beacon and began memorizing every detail of the alien ship. Even as a prisoner, she would gather intelligence. The purple beam pulled her ship into a massive docking bay. As her vessel's doors were forced open, Amanda stood calm and ready. 4 tall figures entered, their armor similar to their ship's rippling surface. Their leader removed his helmet, revealing sharp features that were almost human, except for the silver patterns that seemed to flow across his skin. "I am Commander Thex of the Stellaris Empire," he announced. His English was perfect, though his voice had an odd musical quality. "You are now under my custody." Amanda met his gaze steadily. "Commander Reed of Earth's Defense Force. I should warn you that capturing an Earth officer is an act of war." Thex's expression showed something like amusement. "War? Your species barely manages interplanetary travel. We have crossed galaxies. Then you should know better than to underestimate things you don't understand," Amanda replied coolly. Her response seemed to interest him. He studied her for a moment, then gestured to his guards. "Bring her to the interrogation chamber. Carefully. This one's different." As they led her through the ship's corridors, Amanda maintained her composure while absorbing every detail. The ship's design was elegant but practical. Advanced technology was seamlessly integrated into every surface. Most interesting were the subtle defensive positions placed at regular intervals. This was a culture that valued both beauty and military precision. In the interrogation chamber, Amanda was secured to a chair that seemed to mold itself around her. Thex dismissed the guards and stood before her. "Now, Commander Reed," he said, "you will tell me everything about Earth's defenses." Amanda allowed herself a small smile. "Will I?" "Your species' dedication to bravery is admirable but misplaced," Thex replied. "We have ways of extracting information that no human can resist." "Perhaps," Amanda said, "but you might find that humans have a few surprises of their own." As if to prove her point, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. Her emergency beacon had finally connected with Mars Colony's defense network. The game was just beginning. The alarms continued to blare through the Stellaris ship, but Commander Thex didn't seem worried. He waved his hand, and the noise stopped instantly. "Your beacon's signal has been blocked," he said, watching Amanda's face for any reaction. "Impressive that you managed to activate it without our notice, but ultimately futile." Amanda kept her expression neutral, though her mind raced with calculations. The mere fact that her beacon had worked at all told her something valuable. The Stellar's technology wasn't perfect. It had gaps, however small. As she looked around the interrogation chamber, she noticed something else interesting. The walls were covered in complex patterns that reminded her of game boards. She had seen similar designs in the corridors. "Your people enjoy games," she said, nodding toward the nearest pattern. Thex's silver markings flickered with surprise. "You can recognize our battle simulations. We have something similar on Earth. Chess, Go, military exercises." Amanda shifted in her restraints, letting a hint of challenge enter her voice. "Games of strategy are universal, aren't they?" The alien commander walked closer, his interest clearly piqued. "You believe you could match wits with a Stellarist warrior?" "I propose a challenge," Amanda said firmly. "One night of strategic competitions. If I win, you let me go free." Thex laughed, the sound like distant thunder. "And if I win? Then I'll tell you everything you want to know about Earth's defenses, voluntarily, with no need for your extraction methods." The commander paced the room, his armor rippling with each movement. Amanda could almost see him thinking. She knew her odds weren't good. He probably had centuries of experience, but she only needed to be lucky once. "You would risk giving up Earth's secrets on a game?" Thex asked finally. "I'm betting I won't have to," Amanda replied, "unless you're afraid to accept." His silver markings flashed brighter. In the 6 years she'd spent studying alien cultures, Amanda had learned that pride was often universal. She watched as Thex touched a panel on the wall, causing the restraints around her to dissolve. "The ship's AI will monitor our competition," he announced. "No weapons, no attempts to escape. The games will test strategy, tactics, and military thinking. Do you accept these terms?" Amanda stood, rubbing her wrists. "I accept. When do we begin?" "Now." Thex pressed another panel, and the room transformed. The walls became transparent, revealing a vast chamber filled with holographic displays and simulation platforms. "This is our training arena. Here, we practice scenarios from thousands of years of warfare across hundreds of galaxies." Amanda walked to the nearest platform, studying its controls. They were alien but somehow intuitive. Impressive. But you know what they say on Earth. The more complex the system, the more ways it can fail. Thex's expression showed both amusement and curiosity. "You are either very brave or very foolish, Commander Reed." "Maybe both," she admitted with a slight smile. "Shall we start with something simple? Perhaps a basic tactical simulation?" The commander nodded and activated the platform. Above it, a holographic battlefield materialized, showing 2 armies ready for combat. The pieces looked like living creatures frozen in time. "The objective is simple," Thex explained. "Defeat your opponent's forces using strategy alone. No direct combat involvement." Amanda took her position at one end of the platform. As she studied the holographic army under her command, she noticed they were modeled after ancient Earth warriors. Thex had given her familiar pieces to work with. His first mistake. "Ready when you are, Commander," she said, allowing herself to feel the first spark of real hope. The night ahead would be long, but she had something the Stellarists might not understand: human unpredictability. The game pieces began to glow, awaiting their first commands. 3 hours into their competition, Amanda's forehead glistened with sweat as she moved her troops across the holographic battlefield. She had lost the first simulation but won the second by using Earth's ancient Roman tactics in an unexpected way. Now, in their third battle, everything hung in the balance. Thex watched her with growing fascination. His silver markings pulsed faster whenever she made an unusual move. "You position your forces like no warrior I've ever faced," he admitted, studying the battlefield. "There's no logical pattern to your strategy." "That's because I'm not using just one strategy," Amanda replied, commanding her forces to split into smaller groups. "Humans learned warfare the hard way, by surviving against each other. We had to adapt constantly." The holographic soldiers moved smoothly across the terrain, breaking into what looked like a chaotic retreat. Vex's forces advanced confidently, following basic military doctrine. Just as they reached the center of the battlefield, Amanda sprung her trap. Her scattered forces suddenly converged from multiple directions, catching Vex's army in a complex ambush. The alien commander's eyes widened as he realized what she had done. "Impossible," he muttered, watching his troops fall into disarray. "This formation, it breaks every rule of conventional warfare." Amanda allowed herself a small smile. "Rules are meant to be broken, Commander. That's how we progress." Her forces closed in, using the terrain to their advantage. Where Vex's army moved with perfect precision, her soldiers adapted to each situation, changing tactics on the fly. Within minutes, the simulation was over. Victory flashed above her side of the platform. "2 wins each," she said, wiping her brow. "Should we take a short break?" Vex nodded, still staring at the battlefield readout. His armor rippled with what Amanda had learned to recognize as agitation. "In all my years of combat training, I've never seen such irregular methods." They moved to a seating area where the wall produced 2 containers of liquid. Amanda sniffed hers cautiously before taking a sip. It tasted like cool mint. "You've had years of combat training," she said, watching him carefully. "How many years exactly?" "By your Earth measurements." Vex seemed to calculate for a moment. "Nearly 300 years." Amanda nearly choked on her drink. 300. Your species lives that long. "The average Stellaris lives for roughly 1,000 of your years," he replied. "It gives us time to perfect our strategies, to learn every possible military combination." "Maybe that's your weakness," Amanda suggested, earning a sharp look from her captor. "You've had too much time to learn the right way to do things. Humans rarely live past 100 years. We have to learn fast, adapt faster, and we're not afraid to try the impossible." Vex's markings swirled thoughtfully. "You truly believe your short lifespan is an advantage?" "We know we have limited time to make our mark on the universe," Amanda explained. "It makes us creative, willing to take risks. In our next simulation, I'll show you something called guerrilla warfare. It's what smaller forces use to defeat larger, more advanced armies." "You speak as if you've already won," Vex observed, but his tone held more curiosity than offense. Amanda stood, ready to return to the platform. "I haven't won yet, but I'm going to keep surprising you, Commander. That's what humans do best." As they took their positions for the next round, she noticed subtle changes in the holographic battlefield. The terrain was more complex, offering more opportunities for unconventional tactics. Either the ship's AI was learning from their matches, or Vex was deliberately making things more interesting. "Ready for something completely different?" she asked, already planning her strategy. Vex's markings pulsed with what might have been excitement. "Show me these human surprises, Commander Reed." The battlefield came alive once more, and Amanda prepared to demonstrate just how unpredictable humanity could be. After 6 intense battle simulations, the score stood even. Both commanders had shown remarkable skill, though in very different ways. The ship's AI announced a mandatory rest period, and the holographic battlefield faded away. Amanda sat on one of the room's curved benches, feeling the strain of mental combat. Beside her, Vex seemed lost in thought, his silver markings moving slowly across his skin like gentle waves. "You're troubled," she said, breaking the silence. "Something's been on your mind since the last simulation." Vex turned to her, his expression conflicted. "You used your smaller forces to protect civilian areas, even when sacrificing them would have given you tactical advantages." "Of course," Amanda replied. "That's a core principle of Earth's military. We protect people first, win battles second, even if it means losing the war." "Especially then." Amanda studied his reaction carefully. "What's the point of winning if you destroy everything worth fighting for?" The alien commander stood and walked to one of the transparent walls. Outside, stars streamed by in rivers of light. "The Stellaris Empire was not always as you see it now," he said quietly. We were once a peaceful species, focused on exploration and learning. What changed? A faction rose to power, believing that our long lives and advanced technology made us superior, that we had a duty to rule lesser species. His markings darkened. Not all of us agree. Amanda sat forward, interested. You're part of a different faction. We call ourselves the Preservers, Thex admitted. We believe in maintaining balance in the galaxy, in learning from other species rather than conquering them. He turned back to her. We've been fighting a silent war within our own empire for centuries. And capturing me. Was that part of your mission? My orders were to assess Earth's threat level. His markings swirled faster. The Empire fears your species. You advance too quickly, adapt too easily. They believe you must be controlled before you become too powerful. Amanda processed this information carefully. But you're starting to think differently. These games tonight, Thex gestured at the training arena. You've shown me that humanity's greatest strength isn't your technology or your tactics. It's your perspective. You see possibilities where we see only established patterns. We can't afford to be set in our ways, Amanda said. We don't have centuries to perfect one method. Thex moved closer, his voice dropping. The Empire doesn't know I'm a preserver. Tonight was meant to help me understand human weaknesses. Instead, you've shown me human strengths. And what will you do with that knowledge? That depends, he replied, on what you do next. Amanda stood, meeting his gaze. You could help us prepare. The Empire will come eventually, whether you report us as a threat or not. Such cooperation would be considered treason, Thex warned, but his markings betrayed his interest. Only if you're caught. Amanda smiled slightly. And I've demonstrated how good humans are at unexpected strategies. The ship's AI announced the end of the rest period, and the holographic battlefield began to materialize again. But neither commander moved toward it immediately. The next simulation, Thex said carefully, will feature a scenario where two unlikely allies must work together against a superior force. Are you prepared for such a challenge? Amanda understood the real question behind his words. I think you'll find humans excel at unlikely alliances, Commander. As they took their positions for the next round, something had fundamentally changed. They were no longer captor and prisoner testing each other's limits. They were two warriors facing a common enemy, both knowing that their next moves would affect far more than just their own fates. The battlefield sprang to life, and this time, their armies stood side by side. The ship's chronometer showed that dawn was approaching on Mars, where Amanda's patrol should have ended hours ago. But here in the training arena, time seemed to stand still as she and Thex prepared for their final challenge. The Empire will send a fleet, Thex explained, his fingers moving over the control panel. Standard protocol for subjugating a developing world. I can show you exactly how they'll attack. The holographic battlefield expanded to show Earth's solar system. Tiny ships appeared at its edges, the Stellaris invasion fleet. Amanda studied their formation with intense focus. How many ships would they send? 300 warships minimum. Thex's markings pulsed with concern, each one capable of destroying the small city. Amanda nodded, already forming plans. Show me their typical attack patterns. The holographic fleet moved in perfect geometric formations, their strategies unfolding like a deadly dance. Amanda watched them split into precise groups, each following textbook military doctrine that had probably remained unchanged for centuries. Your turn, Thex said, resetting the simulation. Show me how Earth would defend against this. Amanda took a deep breath and began placing her forces. Instead of matching the Stellaris fleet's perfect formations, she scattered Earth's ships in seemingly random patterns. Some hid in asteroid fields, others used planets for cover, and many appeared to flee in disorder. Thex watched with growing curiosity as the simulation began. The Stellaris fleet advanced confidently, following their standard protocols. Then Amanda's trap sprang. Earth's scattered ships suddenly emerged from hiding, attacking from dozens of directions at once. They ignored the larger warships, instead targeting specific weak points that Thex had revealed during their earlier conversations. Small, fast ships darted between the massive Stellaris vessels, causing confusion and breaking up their precise formations. "Impossible," Thex muttered, but his markings pulsed with excitement. "You're using our own size against us." "Bigger isn't always better," Amanda replied, directing her forces to withdraw and regroup. Humans learned that lesson long ago. The simulation continued as Amanda employed every unconventional tactic she could think of. Earth's ships used solar flares for cover, turned space debris into weapons, and constantly shifted between attack and retreat. The Stellaris fleet's superior technology meant nothing when they couldn't effectively target their enemies. "Look at the casualty numbers," Thex said in amazement. "You're losing ships, but you're taking 3 of ours for every one you lose. This should be mathematically impossible." Amanda allowed herself a small smile. "That's humanity's secret, Commander. We don't believe in impossible." The simulation reached its climax as the remaining Earth ships launched a coordinated attack on the Stellaris fleet's command vessels. By targeting the leadership, they threw the entire invasion force into chaos. Within minutes, the mighty armada began to retreat. The holographic battlefield froze, and the ship's AI announced Earth's victory. Amanda released a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "You've proven your point," Thex said quietly. "Humanity isn't just ready to face the Empire. You might be the only species capable of stopping them." "Not alone," Amanda replied, turning to face him, "but with the right allies." Thex's markings swirled with determination. "The Preservers have waited centuries for the right moment to challenge the Empire's expansion. Perhaps we've finally found it." "So what happens now?" Amanda asked, though she already suspected the answer. "Now," Thex said, "we turn this simulation into reality." But first, he pressed a panel on the wall, and the door to the training arena slid open. "As agreed, you've earned your freedom. Though I hope you'll choose to stay and help me plan our next moves." Amanda looked at the open door, then back at the holographic battlefield showing Earth's victory. Sometimes, she realized, freedom meant choosing a bigger fight. "I think," she said, "we have some planning to do." The training arena transformed into a command center as Thex accessed the ship's secure databases. Holographic displays showed the positions of Preserver forces hidden throughout the galaxy, glowing like stars in the darkness. "We've been gathering allies for decades," he explained, zooming in on different sectors. "Species who resist the Empire in secret, waiting for the right moment to act." Amanda studied the display with a strategist's eye. "How many worlds have joined her cause?" 42 civilizations, Thex replied, his markings glowing with pride. "Each one chose to fight rather than submit, but none have shown the tactical creativity of humans." The commander waved his hand, and a new hologram appeared, a detailed map of Earth's solar system. "Your Mars colony was our first discovery. We watched how quickly humans adapted to life on another world. It was impressive." "Mars taught us a lot," Amanda said, remembering her years patrolling the Red Planet. "When everything tries to kill you, you learn to think creatively." She moved closer to the display, noting the defense satellites and patrol routes she knew so well. "We'll need to coordinate with Earth's military without alerting the Empire. It won't be easy." "Nothing worth doing ever is," Thex responded, his markings swirling thoughtfully. "The Preservers can provide advanced technology and intelligence about the Empire's movements. In return, you need our unpredictability," Amanda finished. "Our ability to think outside your 1,000 years of tactical doctrine." "Exactly." Thex brought up another display showing a space station design. "We've established hidden training bases throughout neutral territories, places where different species can learn from each other, share strategies." Amanda's eyes lit up as she examined the station's schematics. "A joint training program. That's brilliant. The Empire would never expect their enemies to work together. They believe other species are too primitive to cooperate effectively." Thex explained. It's their greatest weakness. They underestimate everyone. Working together, they spent the next hour outlining a plan. Amanda suggested using Earth's asteroid mining operations as cover for building secret bases. Thex showed her how to detect and avoid Empire patrol routes. We'll need to move carefully, he warned. The Empire has spies everywhere. One mistake could expose the entire network. Then we don't make mistakes, Amanda said firmly. On Earth, we have a saying. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. We take our time, plan everything perfectly. Thex's markings pulsed with interest. Your human sayings contain much wisdom. Perhaps we've been too rigid in our thinking for too long. They turned their attention to creating a secure communication system. Amanda proposed using the same interference in the Mars dark quarter that had hidden Thex's ship to mask their transmissions. The commander agreed, adding Stellaris encryption methods to make the signals appear like natural phenomena. Your Mars patrol was no accident, was it? Amanda asked suddenly, putting the pieces together. You chose me specifically. We've been watching Earth's military leaders, Thex admitted. You showed exceptional tactical thinking, adaptability. We needed to know if humans could be trusted as allies. And did I pass your test? Thex's markings rippled with what might have been amusement. You exceeded all expectations, though I suspect that's something humans do regularly. Amanda smiled, turning back to the displays. Well then, let's exceed some more. Show me everything you know about Empire battle formations. We'll need to start training our forces to work together. As they began detailed planning, neither of them mentioned the night's original challenge anymore. Amanda's demand for freedom had led to something far more important, hope for both their peoples. The ship's chronometer continued its count toward dawn, but in the command center, human and Stellaris worked as one, laying the groundwork for a revolution that would change the galaxy. The golden domes of Mars Colony gleamed in the morning sunlight as Thex's ship descended through the rusty atmosphere. In the command center, Amanda stood beside the Stellaris commander, both wearing their formal uniforms. The events of the night had changed everything. They're going to be suspicious, Amanda said, watching the defense platforms track their approach. A missing commander returns in an alien ship with an alien ambassador. It's not exactly standard protocol. Good thing you're known for breaking protocols, Thex replied, his markings showing what she now recognized as humor. The ship's communication system crackled. Unidentified vessel, you have entered restricted airspace. Identify yourself immediately. Amanda leaned forward. Mars Control, this is Commander Reed, authorization code Alpha 7 Delta 9. Requesting immediate audience with the Defense Council. I'm returning with a diplomatic delegation. A long pause followed. Amanda could imagine the chaos her transmission was causing in the control room. Finally, the radio crackled again. Commander Reed, your codes are verified, but you've been missing for 12 hours. We need an explanation. That's why I need the council, she replied calmly. What happened during those 12 hours will change everything. The defense platforms powered down, and a landing vector appeared on their screens. As Thex guided the ship toward the main dome, Amanda saw the welcome committee forming, a full squad of Earth's finest troops, along with several high-ranking officers. Remember, she told Thex, they're going to be afraid. We need to show them there's nothing to fear. The commander nodded, his markings steady and calm. Trust is earned slowly. We learned that lesson with you. They landed smoothly, and the ship's ramp lowered into the Mars atmosphere. Amanda went first, her boots touching home soil as the morning light cast long shadows across the landing pad. Behind her, Thex emerged into his first Earth sunrise. General Richards stepped forward from the welcome committee, his face a mixture of relief and suspicion. Commander Reed, you had us worried. Sir, Amanda saluted. I apologize for the concern, but I brought back something more valuable than any patrol report. May I present Commander Thex of the Stellaris Preservers, here to propose an alliance. The general's eyes widened as he looked at Thex, The alien commander bowed slightly, his silver markings catching the sunlight. "Your Commander Reed has shown us that our peoples have much to learn from each other," Thex said, "and much to gain by working together." Over the next hour, in the council chamber, Amanda and Thex told their story. They explained about the Empire's plans, the Preserver resistance, and the night of challenges that had brought them together. When they finished, the chamber was silent. Finally, General Richards spoke. "You're suggesting we join an intergalactic resistance movement, train with alien species, all based on one night of games." "With respect, sir," Amanda replied. "Sometimes the best way to know someone is to face them across a battlefield, even a simulated one. Commander Thex and his people are offering us a chance not just to survive, but to help create a better galaxy." The council members looked at each other, then back at the unlikely pair before them. Thex stepped forward, his voice carrying through the chamber. "Let us show you what we can accomplish together. Already, your commander has taught us new ways of thinking about warfare and strategy. Imagine what more we could learn from each other." As the council began their deliberations, Amanda caught Thex's eye. In just one night, they had gone from captor and prisoner to allies and friends. Now, standing together before Earth's leaders, they represented hope for both their peoples. The story of their night of challenges would be told for generations, how a game of strategy had turned into a fight for freedom, not just for one commander, but for an entire galaxy.